The National Consumer League is urging manufacturers not to pass on the full increase in the price of flour to Jamaicans. The 11% increase announced by Jamaica Flour Mills takes effect today. Past president of the league, Trevor Samuels, notes that the price movement is likely to impact other products.
If the flour price goes up, then naturally you can expect a price increase in baked goods like bread and other baked goods and whatever flour goes into. It is likely that there's going to follow on with a price increase somewhere or other. We do hope that the people who are making these products will not put on the full increase on us, but we do expect that there's going to be a price increase. But hopefully we are asking the manufacturers to sort of hold strain and not give us the whole increase. All right, at least if they're going to do it gradually, but not all at once if they can give us that sort of consideration.
Mr. Samuel says consumers have been experiencing a gradual increase in certain key products since the start of the year. He says one of these is fuel.
Flour has gone up, petrol prices have gone up, and all of them have a linkage with one another because once petrol prices go up, it's going to cost more to bring goods into the market. And whatever petrol or fuel in general goes into, usually it affects the prices of those things, and the prices never generally come down. Because over the last couple of months, you can call it months, we've had a price increase almost every week. And sometimes, the price increase is quite heavy. It's only once since about January we've ever had a slight reduction, 1 week. And when I say a slight reduction, just a reduction by a few cents compared to what it goes up by.
The Jamaica Medical Doctors Association has expressed frustration over the delay in payments to them amounting to more than $200 million. President of the JMDA, Dr. Mindy Fitz-Henley, says 80% of that money is owed by the Southeast Regional Health Authority, SARA. More in this report.
There is a dire situation facing members of the healthcare profession navigate through the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. Nurses and doctors fighting on the front line are still struggling to make ends meet. That's the situation that has caused the president of the Jamaica Medical Doctors Association, Dr. Mindy Fitz-Henley, to intervene. She says the matter of gratuity for healthcare workers is a long-standing issue.
We've had this issue occurring many times, but this time when we checked it out, we asked our members to send in their names. And so when we added this up and how much they were owed, it was in excess of $200 million. And as you can imagine, some of these persons, when we checked the information, were owed for up to 5 years. There are people who are owed 2 gratuities and not just 1.
Doctors working in the public sector do not benefit from a pension plan. Doctors are hired on a contractual basis with each contract duration no longer than 3 years. Dr. Fitz-Henley says this is another major point of concern.
It's very difficult for us to plan for the future because many times when you go to get a loan, for example, for a mortgage, we don't have anything to show that we'll be able to continue paying.
Doctors working under the Southeast Regional Health Authority received a letter on March 9 indicating that their deductions for February and March 2021 had not been paid over. Since then, the authority had agreed to have those payments settled by April, but not without a few close calls.
Their deductions were paid over at different times. And the unfortunate thing is that persons got phone calls, from different institutions that their cars are going to be repossessed, that their houses are in jeopardy of being listed in the newspaper. And so there's a lot more to it than just the money being paid over 2 or 3 months late, because unfortunately we are the ones who have to take the brunt of it now and would be seen as bad debt.
In the meantime, former president of the JMDA, Dr. Alfred Dawes, is calling for a probe into the matter at the Southeast Regional Health Authority.
I think something at that regional level needs to be investigated properly why they're taking that stance in terms of the reduction.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
74 new cases of COVID-19 were confirmed yesterday from 976 samples. The country's overall case count is now 46,782. Jamaica's COVID-19 positivity rate has further declined to 7.4%, the lowest since the second wave of the virus. 3 more deaths were also recorded. A 24-year-old woman from St. Catherine is among 3 persons who died from COVID-19 in Jamaica. The other 2 deaths are a 72-year-old woman from St. Mary and a 66-year-old woman from St. Catherine. The COVID-19 death toll is now 809. The Health Ministry is investigating another death. In the meantime, 178 persons are hospitalized with a respiratory illness. 15 are critically ill and 7 moderately ill. There are now 23,234 active cases. And it's now time for a break, but stay with us. More stories when we return. And welcome back, continuing the news. Local Government Minister Desmond McKenzie is expected to get a report today from the Mayor of Montego Bay regarding the alleged beating of a female vendor by a security guard at the Charles Garden Market on Friday night. In a statement yesterday, the minister said the report is needed so that the necessary actions can be taken. The vendor, Pauline Higgins, showed TVJ News bruises and swelling on her leg due to the alleged beating. Mr. McKenzie says he understands that a security guard and the vendor got into a verbal altercation before he physically assaulted her by hitting her on the leg with a piece of board. The minister says he is appalled at the guard's actions. The local government minister has strongly condemned the incident. The security firm contracted by the municipal corporation is also conducting its own investigation into the incident. At least one road safety expert is concerned about the number of road fatalities in Clarendon. Vice Chairman of the National Road Safety Council, Dr. Lucian Jones, is urging motorists to slow down. Kirk Wright reports.
Vice Chairman of the National Road Safety Council, Dr. Lucian Jones, revealed that data for the period January 1 to May 5 show 9 fatal crashes occurred in Clarendon compared to 8 during the same period last year.
I know Clarendon is now a hotbed. We had several crashes this week, including the one where 2 persons died, very unfortunately. The driver of a bus for Clarendon College, as well as the driver of a taxi. There were several crashes on that night. Thank God the others were not fatal.
He highlighted that most of the crashes involved motorcyclists and the major cause, speeding.
Far too often and for far too long, the mindset in Jamaica, it's a culture, has been man of a drive fast, man of a make a money, man of eat a food. So the taxis run jostle because it's a business decision for them to make as many trips as possible.
According to Dr. Jones, data show that if motorists cut their speed by 5%, the fatality rate will go down by 30%. He's also appealing to policymakers to institute safe speeds in built-up areas.
Once a pedestrian is hit by a motor vehicle in excess of 30 kilometers per hour, that pedestrian does not have a chance to live. The chance of surviving a crash is very small. So in the same way that the country is now mobilized around protocols for dealing with COVID-19, corona, we have to establish the protocols to deal with injuries on our roads.
The Global Week of Road Safety, which is sponsored by the United Nations, will be celebrated during May 17 to 23. The theme, Love 30, Save Your Life. Kirk Wright, TVJ News.
A garbage truck overturned along the Black Hill Main Road in Portland on Sunday, blocking traffic flow and leaving a minor oil spill. It's understood that around 1 p.m. the truck was heading towards the Buff Bay dump site when the incident occurred. One unit from the Buff Bay fire station responded.
Upon arrival at the location, the brigade observed the garbage truck turn over and the road blocked. The soft shoulder was used to establish a single traffic to flow, while sand, dirt, and sawdust was used to blanket off the aisle that was escaping from the crankcase of the unit.
4 persons were on board, 3 sidemen and the driver. There were no reports of major injuries. Public cleaning manager for the region, Patrick Marshall, said investigations are ongoing to determine the cause of the incident.
4 of them are sent to the hospital to do further checks and in terms of injuries that they sustained from the accident. We are doing further investigation at this point to find out what exactly happened and now trying to remove the truck from the roadway so people can pass through smoothly.
And as we reported earlier in the newscast, schools reopened today for students sitting exit exams. Now over in St. Anne, safety measures were put in place at the Brownstown High School to limit the spread of COVID-19 among students and teachers.
From the entrance, we have our dean and one of our security assistants were there, our security guards were there, the temperature checks were done. The spacing markers are there, so the students will come line up. They're tested, the temperature is recorded, and they're sanitized. Also, when they go to the classrooms, each teacher in the class also has a container that they use to sanitize the students. So the students are again sanitized when they enter the classes. Once they leave the room, and let's say they go to the bathroom, once they re-enter the classroom, they will be sanitized. During the break, all the students will leave the classroom and the rooms will be sanitized. For the next set of students will be coming in after the break.
Principal at the school, Alfred Thomas, says he is satisfied with the level of student turnout.
Back today we have math currently going on, and I must admit, and we're happy that it's the largest number of students we have had come out for their CSET math classes. So we're happy to have them out today, and the teachers are engaging the students. Today specifically we're doing past papers because the teachers would have already covered the content. So we're now focused on exam preparation, so they're working some past papers now. Students are well engaged, and we're happy for that. We're happy to have our students out.
And it's now time for the Business Minute. Here's Cody and Barrett.
The Business Minute, brought to you by Connex. We design, install, connect, we deliver.
In the financial world, remittances continue to rebound strongly, with the latest data showing inflows rising 30% in February. In dollar terms, the inflows amounted to $212 million in the month and pushed the total for the April to February 2021 period to $2.6 billion. The Wasinko Group said it is anticipating over 60% increase in export revenues for its biggest soft drink during the first half of 2021 from shipments to Britain. This, the company based on the recent shift of its manufacturing operations from Britain to Jamaica, capitalizing on the overall 34% growth in UK sales for the fiscal year 2020. Wasinko said its projections indicate that the move will push export revenues well over the $600 million mark. Trinidad-based Massey Holdings is to cross-list its shares on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. According to a report in Trinidad's Express newspaper, Massey's board made the decision on May 6. Massey's board anticipates greater regional and international interest in the company's shares. And coming up in the business day this evening, more responses from stakeholders on the increase in the price of flour. That's it for the Business Minute. I'm Cody Ann Barrett.
The Business Minute, brought to you by Connex. We design, install, connect, we deliver.
And here's Kian Morgan with a preview of what's coming up in this evening's edition of A Ray of Hope.
Coming up in this evening's edition of A Ray of Hope.
I don't have $1 million to give back to them, but the little that I have a nursery and a daycare that my wife and myself operates. And we have decided to share this little that we have with Jamaica.
That's A Ray of Hope, this evening during Primetime News.
A Ray of Hope, brought to you by
At Courts, we've got more ways for you to shop and pay. Shopping just got easier, only at Courts. Conditions apply.
And in news overseas, an influential model estimates that 185 million Americans will be fully vaccinated against the COVID-19 pandemic by September. But vaccine hesitancy could contribute to a winter surge. More from the CNN.
For the first time since October, the 7-day average of new COVID-19 cases in the U.S. has fallen to 45,000 per day.
Our focus remains on getting 70% of Americans, adult Americans, at least one shot by July 4th, as the president has laid out that goal.
This comes as Pfizer-BioNTech announces it's seeking full approval for its COVID-19 vaccine from the Food and Drug Administration.
For a lot of people who are on the fence, who are worried about, well, is this an emergency use? Should I get vaccinated? It will give them confidence.
Some health officials want to improve that confidence because they're concerned about a possible surge this winter as different variants of COVID-19 spread.
I think boosters are going to be a reality. Whether that is that once a year, like the flu vaccine, we just don't know that part yet. And so what we need to do is really focus on maintaining that mass vaccination infrastructure that we have, boosting our ability to track variants.
A forecast from the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation at the University of Washington says 65% of Americans will be fully vaccinated by the middle of next month, and a wider group of adolescents are expected to become eligible soon.
I think we're going to see 12 to 15 very soon. And then in the fall, we might see it expanded to that under 12 age group.
Meanwhile, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is under increasing pressure to impose a nationwide lockdown as the country grapples with the world's worst COVID-19 outbreak. On Monday, India reported over 366,100 new cases. This is the first time daily infections have dipped below 400,000 since May 6. Its total caseload is now more than 22 million since the pandemic began. The health ministry also reported an additional 3,754 virus-related deaths on Monday, after 2 consecutive days of reporting more than 4,000 fatalities. And that's the Midday News. I'm Anthony Lugg. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.